The Second Year Charity Gala by Independent 16 on AO3. Episode 7. Chapter 3. Quick Thinking. He cursed his own stupidity. He should have realized the second the villain revealed the workings of their quirk. Shouto's own functioned by either insinuating the dust particles in the air or freezing the water particles by rapidly increasing or decreasing the temperature. Against a wind-type quirk, his fire side was too versatile. He knew as much from the provincial license and remedial lessons last year. And against this specific quirk, it appeared his quirk was a disadvantage. The villain could just push away his ice before it solidified. A glance over at where Exless had engaged in hand-to-hand combat with Heatwave told him the situation was similar. Without his quirk, Exless had to fight at close range, while Heatwave's whole quirk appeared to be touched base. Shouta took a step towards them in hopes of swapping places with Exless, but it turned out he didn't have to. Hey, yeah! Jirou gasped behind him. Shouta turned to see that she reclaimed one of the speakers, which had been left at the side of the room. She had plugged in her ear. There was a moment of realization before she used her quirk, which Shouta used to duck out of the speaker's line of attack. Seconds later, the thumpity-thump of Jirou's heartbeat blasted out the speakers. It was amplified by Jirou's earphone jack. The sound waves rippled through the air, hitting Windsurfer at top speed. And he was knocked off his feet before he could use his quirk to retaliate. Shouta went over to stand beside her. I would have used my quirk in the floor earlier, but I'm worried about causing earthquakes indoors. Shouta grunted in confirmation, turning to see the villain begin to rise. He formed a trail of ice in hopes of subduing him while he was down, but the villain sent out a hefty gust of wind in his direction, and Shouta aborted the ice formation just as it began to curl back towards him. The ice stopped just inches before his face. Dangerously close. Okay, so that doesn't look at all safe. Jirou had leaned back in surprise at the approaching ice. She pumped her heartbeat into the speaker again, shattering the ice with the vibration. Maybe I should be on main offense against this one, huh? How do you know his quirk won't just push back your airwaves? Not if I'm quick enough to attack first. Another burst of her shaky heartbeat made its way across the hall, knocking Windsurfer back a couple steps, but not strong enough to completely topple him over. Damn it, fucking kids! The villain sputtered. Shouta watched, almost in awe, as his anger was conveyed into windstorm as he whipped up around himself. It circled him in a loose and looser limps, pushing up small shards of marble which had fallen as debris from the fights around them. The gusts grew faster and faster. Jirou. Yeah, I'm on it, she murmured. I just don't want to knock over the pillar he's in front of. The civilians behind it. She was right. Shouta narrowed his eyes and thought. I could get over there and set up a couple barriers. Your sound waves won't break several at once. That might work. You'll have to be quick, though. I can't cover you. He nodded, waiting for a few moments, watched for an opening. Then he moved. Using his eyes to glide over and speed his movements, he ducked under a large chunk of marble and slid across the tilted section of the floor towards the villain. Windsurfer seemed surprised at the bold approach. His half-second of indecision was what gave Shouta the opportunity to duck under his flailing arm and skid to a stop behind the pillar, scraping his ankles on something rough, but otherwise unscathed. He knew Jirou had no time to waste. With a quick flick of his right arm, he set up a thick sheet of ice, then another, and another. After he got the fifth layer of protection, he stopped, but he held his arm aloof, just in case he needed to form another one at a short notice. Sparing a glance at the civilians around him, he noted that some were generals he spoke with earlier with Momo. They were clutching shields, which he recognizes as Momo's handiwork. Shouta guessed that she must have ended up with them when everybody ran for the nearest cover. But that didn't explain where she had gone afterwards. The woman from the larger news network, who he remembered he had asked about annoying questions about living with Endeavor's legacy, had a couple of shields in her hand. Spares. With bulging eyes, she shakily handed one to Shouto. He nodded in return and slipped it onto his left arm. Then, the sound waves hit. There was a blast and a shout of impact when the villain hit the pillar. The marble promptly shattered from the vibrations. Those same vibrations rumbled on to break not one, not two, but three of Shota's ice shields, and was pushing cracks through the last one just in time for Shouta to form several more. These were thinner, as he felt his arm frost slightly. He'll deal with that later. With his left arm curling around them protectively, he pushed the civilians back so he'd have room to make a finer layer of ice. The vibrations cut out abruptly. A couple of cracks spreaded through Shota's barrier, but it remained intact. Safe. He gave it a couple seconds before he stepped out. Windsurfer was down and unconscious by the looks of it. The pillar was reduced to rubble. It seemed to have been deflated by the ace barriers, though, and none of it had hit the journalists. Jirou had a smug smile on her face. She unplugged her earphone jack from the large speaker and wandered over to stand beside Shouto, where he dropped down to check the villain's vitals. He's just unconscious. He's breathing fine. He has a head injury, though, so I'll put him in the recovery position in case he throws up. Jirou dropped down to help him turn the man over to his side. Seems that Xless has beaten the other villain down. Jirou hummed agreement. In the corner of his eye, he could see the three journalists sheepishly peeking out from behind the remaining ice. Across from them, Xless was using some kind of rope, though upon closer inspection, it seemed to be the tie of one of the nearby civilians, to restrain Heatwave's hands. She appeared to have been knocked out as well. Xless glanced up and met his gaze, before beginning to walk over. That was more difficult than it should have been. These are just 2-bit villains. I can't believe they got the drop on us. He murmured. He offered Jirou a hand to help her up, but she just raised an eyebrow at it and stood on her own. Xless shrugged and put it back into his pockets. He took his time to scan his fights still going around them. You kids gotta keep hanging around, or are you gonna try and evacuate? Shouta glanced at the various villains and low-ranked heroes nearby. Now stay. Jirou? She snorted. You think I'm going anywhere? Also, just call me Kyouka. Seriously. Alright. Kyouka. She rolled her eyes at his awkwardness. Shouta took another scan of the room, expecting to just pick out a fight where he'd useful, but his eyes caught onto something strange. What's that villain doing? Just sitting there. Huh? Xless turned in the direction he gestured at. That's weird. The man had long, light yellow hair that seamed at his collarbone and obscured his eyes. He was sitting cross-legged on the marble floor in a plain tuxedo. And if not for how several villains were surrounding him protectively, he could be mistaken as just another innocent gala attendee. That guy, I saw him earlier. Kyouka told them. He was in the dark behind a pillar near us, and he had his phone out. I thought it was weird that he had his phone, but the villains attacked as I was about to mention it. Xless grunted. I also recognized him, but when I saw him, it was just as the other heroes disappeared. His eyes were glowing. His eyes. Shouta raised an eyebrow. Yeah, can't see him now, but before he was holding his hair out of his face and they were glowing white. Kyouka glanced between them. Shouto, it seems like that guy must have been what caused the heroes to just up and disappear like that. His quirk or something. Yes, it would explain why the other villains are protecting him. He stepped forward, but Xless raised an arm to ward him back. Whoa, kid. Can't go in there without a plan. We don't have any clue how his quirk works. Shouto kept his eyes on the villain in the center. What do you suggest? Okay, yesterday biking, which is the reason why I went biking, which is the reason why this, episode, Episode 6 got cut in half. Not even just in half. I mean, this is, 9 minutes? And the other one's, 15? But, I cut it at a really weird area. No, it was less than 15. It was, 13. When this could have just been one episode, is because, again, I was going biking, and I knew that as I came back, I would be so tired. In the sense of, I did not expect to be that tired, though. I'll be honest with you. I was humbled yesterday. I thought, I can't be that unfit. I know I'm unfit, but, whenever we would go biking, I would love it, right? Yeah, sure, I would, put a little sweat, but, and I hated the uphills, but, that was fine. I could bike from a certain area all the way to a certain area and then back with no rest stops. Which is what? Probably a mile? Yeah, probably a mile. Probably around there, if I'm being honest, around there. And I would always be happy about that. Turns out, I can't do that anymore. Yep. Even back then, it wasn't like I was going every week or even every month. We would go every couple months. Like, I was not on the bike on a regular basis. But I guess I was just physically fit more than I thought. I guess walking around school every single day from class to class. Theater is definitely an exercise. You might think, oh, theater kid, exercise? Yeah, sure, we're not bulking up, but like, we ain't just standing there either. What do you think happens? Who do you think moves those props? Those big beds? Yeah, sure, they have wheels. It does not, sure, like the big beds on set, like sure, they have wheels and shit, but you still gotta push that shit, right? And you still gotta do it fast. You're running backstage. It is hectic. You gotta be, ain't no walking back there. You gotta be running, especially if you're one of the leads, right? Like, side characters, y'all have the luxury of walking. Us? No, I remember sometimes I would have to exit stage left, then go into the left wing, go outside towards the back of the stage, completely backstage, not just in the wings, but like backstage. Run across, get to the door to get into the right wings, walk in, get ready, and walk back into the scene, all in under a minute. Because for some reason, they make me exit stage left, but I have to go back inside and stage right. Because they hate me. I'm looking at you, director. Nah, I'm joking. I love my director. But, sometimes I became a track star in theater. But anyways, I got humbled and I came home and I was passed out. I passed out. And then I am living the repercussions today. My knees hurt so bad. They hurt so bad. My whole body hurts. I am tired. I did not get a good night's rest. Apart from being literally, literally the second my head hit the pillow, I passed out. I've never had that. Or not that I've never had that before, but it's really rare for that to happen to me. So I was like, oh, great, amazing. I'm gonna have amazing sleep then. Probably, maybe. And then I woke up and I'm like, I did not get a full night's rest. I am tired. I am sleepy. My knees are aching and they're not letting me go back to sleep. Great. Anyways. Yeah. I don't have much to say about this chapter. Or this section of the chapter. Just, it really is not a great pairing. Koyuka. Sorry, Jirou, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Could have sworn it's Koyuka. That's what the YouTube video said, so gotta trust. Koyuka, maybe I'm saying it wrong. Koyuka? Yeah, around there. I don't know. I'm tired. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.